Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for King-Ohger episode 14. So, I think it's 14. Sometimes I question whether I get the episode right, but it'll be right in the title, probably. But this episode was overall solid. This episode focused on Yellow Ranger and, of course, Jeremy, because she had suspicions that he's the one that killed her parents. Because, obviously, we got that flashback a while back about the Fury of the Gods night where her parents were murdered and she watched it happen in slow motion and totally could have stopped it. It's totally her fault. She should feel guilty the rest of her life. And obviously there's some similarities between him and Jeremy, and so she goes after him, and that's how we kick off the episode pretty much, is them fighting and her believing that he's guilty already. And I know broken record with this, but the fight scenes in this series are honestly always great looking, and this episode was like no exception. There was some really awesome looking fights with Yellow and the White Ranger, and then just Yellow on her own, especially in her like big moment in the episode where she's like, "Oh, I'm pretty and powerful" or whatever, and it was just really cool. Like the choreography and the slow motion and the cinematics just are some of the best I've seen in Sentai. But anyway, ultimately, he ends up in the custody of Rita for a trial, and that kind of goes about the two things of the episode. It's his trial a little bit, and his only defense is his usual thing of saying, "You gotta read between the lines, man." He doesn't say man. He's not like, full on, what's that movie? Big Lebowskiing it. He doesn't have any white Russians in this episode at all. And eventually they do find out he's innocent because he says he was sleeping, and they find evidence to back that up. He's like, well, of course, when you're alive, like, so long, you gotta take a long nap once in a while. And again, they find evidence of it, and I don't remember if it was Rita or Yellow Ranger, I think it was Rita at one point that said, like, dude, you can't just say for your defense you read between the lines. There's no way we would have discovered you were innocent by you saying that. But while that's going on, the primary character focus is on Yellow Ranger, and everyone in her life, from people in her kingdom to, her butler friend to the other Rangers, kind of reminding her that she's getting away from herself and to let go of the past and remember to focus on the good of now and sort of find a more level-headed stance about all this, leading obviously to when we find out that he's innocent. I mean, we knew he was innocent, but then when they reveal it to her that he's innocent. And they have the Rangers working a bit together more in this episode as we introduce a new monster this week, which has a really cool design. Again, I brought this up as well, but the character design for the villains is pretty great this year. And they all unite at the end to fight the monsters. You have three of them in the Shoe Gods. I believe it's red, blue, and yellow. Classic Sentai Core 3 lineup. And then, of course, White Ranger and his Mecha. And again, yet again, another fight with no robot form. Just these three fighting. And I have to say, again, I appreciate the restraint. It's funny because I'm of two minds. Like, on the one side, I do appreciate the restraint. And I really do like, as I mentioned last week, getting unique fights. Because there's so many Mecha fights. It's always cool to see more unique fights. And them fighting with just the, animal forms or the bug forms or whatever, especially with four of them, was cool because it's a refreshing change of pace. And I also just like the slower rollout for the forms and stuff, even if it's just the robot. It makes things feel more, balanced. I just really like that. But I did think it was going to debut this episode for some reason, but then I remembered the toy comes out next week, and I'm bothered by that. It's like, dude, why do you have to line that stuff up? It's so stupid. The Mecha is out. Just release the toy. Or, I don't know. It's stupid. Sometimes they don't. There's a rare occasion when it doesn't happen. But it just seems so silly the way they do this letter of the line thing for debuts and toy stuff. I don't know. It's stupid. But regardless, in the context of the show, I like the restraint and the slow build of it, as well as being able to have unique mecha fights, as I just mentioned. And the episode ends with Rackley's, but Black Ranger reporting to Rackley's about everything that's going on. And he asks about his sister, and we get a first glimpse at his sister. And that appears to be next week's episode's focus is on his sister. And honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to that. As you guys probably know from watching my reviews, Black Ranger is my least favorite character. I find him to be the most annoying. But I'm interested to see a focus episode on him. I feel like there hasn't been too much focus on him recently. Honestly, him and Rita haven't gotten a lot of focus recently, but even though I'm not a fan of Black Ranger, I'm looking for a reason to like his character more, be more interested in it, and get that plot moving a little bit. So I'm excited for that. And next week we are for sure getting the debut of the Mecha. There was also stuff brought up this week about the creation of the what's it called, the Poffin? It's the name of the food from the Sinnoh region, but the cartoon that Rita watches, they talk about the origins of it and why it was created to help her help the Yellow Ranger as a young queen. And I don't know, I really like the way that show's tied into this. It was nice this week because it was tied into the story as an emotional beat, but it's also an ongoing funny bit. Whenever it's mentioned, Rita perks up, whether it's in a scared I'm gonna get found out or excited way. I like that little touch overall. It's pretty enjoyable. But Yeah, overall, this was a solid episode. I would give this week a 3 out of 5. You know, nothing too spectacular, but continuing the overall solid quality of the series. Looking forward to next week's episode to maybe like the Black Ranger a little bit more and get our full debut of Kumonos' mech. Because I have to say, seeing it more and more now that like the full like clear toy picks are out, I'm actually digging it quite a lot. I'm looking forward to the Mecha coming out. But what did you guys think of this episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder signing out.